Welcome to Disturbed. We're talking season 2. Nope. We're talking season 7, episode 2 of American Horror Story Cult. In fact, I had to go back and fix the tweet I just sent out because it did say season 2, episode 7.
At least you're consistent with your madness. So.
Yeah.
If you're gonna
what a mistake.
Ireland, awesome.
So, before we jump into it, let's do a couple of quick business things like
sure.
we've done before. First of all, you can follow us on Twitter at DisturbedPod. You can follow us on Facebook at Disturbed Podcast. You know, they have that thing where you can just type in at the top the at Disturbed Podcast and it'll get you right to it. Mm-hmm. We have, let's see if I can find messages on here. I'm so bad. Here we go. Inbox. We had a couple of people write in this week. So let's see. First one. This one is from Andrea Lencioni. I was listening to the podcast, and you guys had wondered why they made such a big deal about the age difference between Sarah Paulson's character and Evan Peters. Well, in real life, Sarah Paulson is dating, and has been for about a year, Holland Taylor. Holland is 73, while Sarah is 41. Yeah, I think we've actually talked about this. In fact, I'm reading one from 2016. I think we covered this way back then. Hey, Andrea, you get a second shout out because I'm a fool. But we got two. This is why I thought we had two. We got two from the same person. We got two from Frank Palmer. So Frank, first thing he said, just discovered your podcast. Hey, Frank, congratulations. You found us. We're so happy you're here. Great show, he said, including Kris. No, he didn't say that. Good theories, too. He says good theories, too. Wait till we talk about where we stand after episode 2 aired. He says, I have one for you. Is it a coincidence that Sarah Paulson's character's name is Allie? I think it's paralleled with Sally from Hotel. Kind of like her polar opposite, maybe. If you remember, Sally was constantly crying and in some kind of turmoil. Allie seems to be the same person almost. Just an opposite. Thoughts? Thanks for the free entertainment and keep it coming. We love keeping it coming. This is too much fun. So, Frank, thank you. And there's going to be part 2 to Frank's thing in a second. But what do you think about what he said?
You know what? Knowing these guys, I think it could be. They tie everything together, even though we think it's the clown is the tie-in. Maybe that is another one. Maybe they're going a little bit deeper. But I don't know. Or maybe it's just a convenient, I don't know.
The Sally Alley thing?
I think that's a good thing to present, though. I think that's very, I thought a good notice. Sorry.
No, I agree with you. Actually, it's interesting because I think we touched on this last week, or maybe it was in conversation between the two of us offline. I kind of think that there are going to be some strange parallels like that. I think that there are little threads that are happening because if you look at past seasons, there were threads that we started like putting some fan theories behind, and we started like saying, well, maybe this, maybe that. And then we get little indications that that's actually what's going on. In a case like this, maybe Sally and Allie, maybe it's not that they're opposites, but maybe we'll find out that they're related somehow.
Yeah. Or, maybe just Sarah
Why couldn't they be twins?
Right.
Why couldn't they be twins? Sarah Paulson playing twins again.
Yes, except not Siamese. But
but seriously, why not?
Or maybe she's just really, really good at expressing herself that way, and they use that to their advantage. That she's really, really good at it. She cries well. I mean, she's a great actress or actor. She's fantastic, but she really can she does the cry well. Some people are screamers. She's a good crier. So,
well, what if what they're doing here is not that they're going to make them twins, not that they're going to tie it directly like that, but what if they're doing? You and I talked about this during Hotel, that they were using actors that kind of looked similar, trying to keep us off kilter. What if they're using the Sally, Allie, same actress playing both thing to kind of set us off a little bit, make us not question even that in particular,
right?
But make us kind of like confused. Like it adds an air of confusion or question, because that was definitely happening with all the actors that kind of looked the same in Hotel.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe there's something to it, or maybe it's just coincidence. Maybe they just went, "Hey, let's call her Sally."
Because I think, I think that's a good notice, but I think there's something about Allie and Ivy, the name correlation between the
I do
two
too.
wives, as opposed to maybe the Sally and Allie over different series. But there may be, because they go pretty deep. I tend to think they write a lot like Stephen Moffat, where they throw a lot of stuff at the wall and then they kind of see what sticks, and then I think they go back. They might go back a couple years and say, "Hey, we could pull this thread," and are able to connect the shows that way.
And maybe not even a couple of years later, maybe during the same season,
Mm-hmm.
they have things that they go, maybe this is working out. Maybe we'll try this. And then by the end of the season, that's why we see certain things pay off that we kind of didn't expect. And then other things that kind of left us hanging. Hotel was a great season for that. There was a lot of that,
and Roanoke did too. Roanoke
for sure.
They threw up there. So
yeah. Okay. I want to give you the other part of Frank's thing here. Frank Palmer the second, actually. I didn't want to confuse with the first, who probably sent us an email back in 2014, and I'm just now reading it. So Frank wrote, "Awesome. Thanks for getting back to me. I just think it's funny. Allie is afraid of holes, and Sally finds herself filled with them."
Whoa.
That is a great observation.
Sure.
That is really good.
Wow.
He should have started with that. We'd be praising Frank right now, although we are.
Now we can. So
he says, after watching and rewatching episode 2, I was thinking of another possible twist. What if Oz is the spawn of Tate Langdon? I know that's way out there, but what if? I think that I don't know if it's going to be Tate, but I think that there is going to be something to that. They teased it last time, talking about who carried you.
Right.
And technically that's going to leave the other question, who's the dad?
Right.
Now, could it be Kai?
Sure.
I don't think Kai is going to be related to Tate. I don't know.
Yeah. Who knows? Or is it going to be, maybe the, and I don't know if,
what if Twisty's the dad?
Yeah, Twisty's dad, or the doctor. What if the doctor is?
The doctor. You mean the what's
Cheyenne,
his name?
Yeah,
Cheyenne or whatever.
Yeah. Maybe he's who knows? Because that's something, as you spoiled it, we discovered this episode who is the mother.
Yeah. Okay. Well, you know what? I think that if this was Nuff Said, we give out Nuff Said No prizes. I think that our friend here definitely would have deserved a no prize for that. The filled with holes thing. That was really.
That's a really good catch. And I've got another really good one we got to talk about later. As you know, I like Windows. So
yes. All right. so let's get going on this thing.
Sure.
Kris, it is season 7, episode 2. Don't be afraid of the dark. So I took some notes this time. The one thing I want to bring up right away that I thought was kind of an interesting little payoff. Do you remember when we used it actually as our icon for our show when this dropped? There were some leaked images, not leaked, but the very first image that we got of this season was that clown with the hands coming out of its head.
Yes.
And we used that as our logo for the show just for a short bit. And then it came out that it was about the election. We changed it to I found a burning White House and put Trump's lower mouth and then a 7 on it. And then it turned out to be this awesome one with the tongue with the holes in it. Right. Which is so gross. Every time I see it, I think, man, why did we do that? But the very first one we used was that head with the hands.
Right.
And that clown showed up tonight.
Yeah.
I thought that was a great payoff, man.
I did too, and I think that was good. I just want to know who the clowns are because I have my ideas, and I'm wondering who of this bunch is it actually going to be? Because we can talk about that, but I want to know what the payoff is
for the clowns.
For the clowns, yeah, because I think it would be very interesting to see how they roll them out and what they do because I have my thoughts. But yeah, it was cool to see that one. Now the hands one was the one that she knocked over the railing, correct?
Yeah. So okay. Let's talk about a lot of these things because they tied into what we talked about last week. So we started out, the very first thing we see is where we ended last week with her rolling over in bed, and our theory, I'm going to throw you under the bus because I think it was mine, but since it's wrong, I'm going to say ours, is that Ivy's involved, and that was kind of proof.
Hold on. No. I still think she is.
I still think she is too, but I don't think
I
don't think this moment was proof.
No.
I think that was something that we were kind of speculating on, and it turns out no. I do believe the clown was in the bed. I believe 100% the clown was in the bed.
Well, and you know why?
Because if you looked at the bed, that side of the bed was messed up, and Ivy had not been to bed yet.
Right. Well, actually, and then when Ivy goes back into the room, there's fingerprints, like big fingerprints, on the glass table. Like somebody had reached over there.
I don't think I noticed that.
Yeah, that was something that when I was watching with Kathleen, she noticed, but I kind of did too, and I kind of looked at you.
Are you sure she wasn't saying you got your grimy fingers all over your glass table?
No, that happens a lot, but yes. No, but if you look, when she puts the knife down on the table, there's like a big handprint.
Oh, I didn't see that. Oh, that's a good catch. Yeah, I thought it was really funny when she's like, it might be in there. And they go up to the closet. It's one of those California closets. There's no room for somebody to be in there.
Even the kid couldn't be in there.
Like the shelving is right at the door. That was really funny.
Right.
But I do think whatever's going on here, the clowns are definitely there.
Sure.
But they are still playing with us with that. Because Oz is having the night terrors.
Well,
and there is no way that we saw the night terror with the clowns when Twisty was there, and then we saw them come in and wake him up. There is no way that the clowns got him back in the bed and made him feel he was asleep to do all that. That was a night terror, that scene. So I think Twisty isn't there.
That would be what I would surmise too. Twisty's imaginary.
I think when we see Twisty, it's but the three-faced one was with Twisty. How is that possible? Unless he did see the three-faced one.
He saw the three-faced one when the Changs were murdered. Yeah, that was that was the driver of the car, I believe, right?
Yeah. So that's getting into his psyche now. So he is imagining it. He's imagining that.
Right.
He has seen the clowns
for
real.
Yeah.
I think that. Even with Sarah Paulson, I think that if we went back and analyzed, there may be times she's really seeing them, there may be times that she's not. But I still haven't figured out the motivation. Why are they targeting them?
Okay, well, number one, I don't know about that. I want to go back about the imaginary and the reality thing.
Okay.
So remember in Roanoke how, I don't know if you remember I talked about that, but every time the windows were round,
I remember this.
It was like made up. And then if the windows were square, it was real.
Right.
If you will notice in the first two, and I don't know how accurate it is, I just noticed it, and I just watched the episode once before we did this. If anytime you think it's imaginary, they use horizontal lines or horizontal rectangles. Like when the boy woke up, there were lines from the shades on the wall behind him. He went, and the windows of the door were horizontal, and then he went into the bathroom, and the panels on the shower curtain were horizontal, and he was looking out at the clouds. So I believe that's when it's made up. Now, anytime that it's real, the bars that you put on all of the doors and windows are vertical. So if you see vertical windows, I believe that's real. And even in the part that we'll get to in the meat locker scene or in the cutting room scene, everything appears to be vertical. I think that's real. So if you look at for the and I don't know what the terminology is that the allegory or is that that's the director, and I don't know what it is. You're more of the theater guy than I do, but when they use that symbolism, it seems like vertical is real and horizontal is fake. I could be completely off, but that's what I've noticed.
You might have something there. I'm going to have to go back and rewatch, kind of fast forward through these first two episodes and see if I noticed that. Mm-hmm. Because when I went back and watched Roanoke, I think you were right. Uh-huh. And that sure seems like a Ryan Murphy move.
What's that called? I don't even know. Maybe somebody knows. If you guys know, send us a message.
Please do.
I never paid attention to that when I was in school, so I just noticed it. That's all.
Yeah.
It's not called a plot device. What's that called? I can't even think of it.
It's not called a plot
device. You know what I'm talking about, right?
I know exactly what you're talking about, but I can't think. You know what? If we had started a half hour earlier, I would have known. Ooh, shot to Kris.
Hey,
Hey.
Sorry, I'm thinking that.
How about, okay. Well, no, we're still talking about the clowns. About the clowns. What do you think the deal is with the clowns? Or do we need to talk about the neighbors before we talk about that?
Well, we can talk about the neighbors because I think they play into it. I think everybody that's involved.
I think they totally play into it.
Whatever it is. Oh, yeah, because hold on. Okay, so let's talk about the neighbors and then go into it because the Changs are dead. I don't know how much time has elapsed, but it seems like it's been a little bit of time. And then all of a sudden, Sarah Paulson's in her freak out mode. And
I don't think it's that long. Well, I don't think it's that long from when those neighbors moved in, because didn't they say this just happened like 2 weeks ago or something crazy like that?
Maybe. I don't know. I think there was a little bit of time, but I don't know. So.
Yeah, okay. I thought that it was a lot sooner than that. I thought that this was one of those things like she looked out and she's like, I can't believe somebody's moving into this house already. Well, and it really wasn't that long.
When I saw the movers, I thought they were moving stuff out of the Chang's house. And then I see them the
barrels. Like what is in the barrels?
Yeah, no kidding. So,
that's weird.
So a couple moves into the Changs. Sarah Paulson freaks out and goes and like is spying on them.
Right.
I mean, who other than in white suburbia goes over to the neighbor's house and stares in the front windows when they just moved in?
Yeah. And what was up with that? There was that weird like Victorian outfit, and then I mean they definitely focused on that. And did you notice that what's her name? What's her name? The nanny.
Oh, Winter.
Yeah, you're close. Did you notice that Winter had very similar clothing and like her ring? They made sure to show that ring, and that ring looked like it was right from that outfit.
Well, not only does she have a ring, she has, and that's called a cameo, right? Where they have that silhouette, that porcelain silhouette.
Yes.
She has a ring, and she also had a necklace or a brooch when she comes in at the end.
Yes.
It's the same exact figure. So I don't know what that is, but I'm sure we're going to be seeing that in their house.
At least they're going to do like we're talking about with the vertical windows and that. Right. Like it's some kind of indicator that if you go back and you really watch it, you're going to realize, oh, whenever I see that, this is what's going on.
Because the couple, their name is the Wiltons, and number one, it's Billy Eichner.
Yes, it is.
He's fantastic.
Harrison.
Totally over the top, but. So they're like not even like a mixed couple. It's a man and a woman, but it's almost like they were again, I'm completely drawing a blank. That's like they're like the what if we don't get married by 35, we're gonna get married. He's gay, she's not. He is like
she has cancer, she said.
Right, she has cancer, so she doesn't like the sun. So that's kind of vampire-ish, which is another allegory back to Hotel. Because she goes,
I wonder if that's what that's going to be. Well, do you think we're going to get vampires, or do you think they're going to leave it? Because once again, we've talked about how this whole series is tying together, and they've said, isn't it 9 seasons is what they've said now?
Right.
I know they're renewed through 9, but haven't they said that this whole thing potentially ties together for the 9 seasons? Could we find out that the whole time she was a vampire there? Sure. That she was infected by Lady Gaga or part of that crew.
Right.
I don't know.
Lady Gaga. So, yeah, who knows?
Yeah.
I'd love to see the season finale where they bring everybody back. That would be fantastic.
Oh, my gosh. You know what they do is they don't just bring everybody back. They bring back all of the characters playing all the characters. Imagine all the Sarah Paulson characters in one room.
Yeah.
The ones that are alive at this point, which that might be a little tricky.
Yeah, there's a few that haven't quite made it, but yes. No, that's true. But that's good. But yeah, I mean, it's freaky. So they kind of explain the mannequin because she have an Etsy shop now that she quit her job. So
is that what they said? I didn't catch that.
So it was very kind of like, well, he raises bees and does.
He raises bees,
and then conveniently has candles that last 2 days, conveniently for the end of the show.
Right.
So
I have a question about the bees.
Yes.
I believe, and I didn't go back and look, I really should have, but I believed when we first saw her go back and he was with the bees,
mm-hmm.
that was a different outfit. He was in a hazmat suit originally.
Right.
So those were two different outfits, right?
Oh yeah, the one was like a full hazmat with a breathing apparatus. It was like
right. That's what he showed up in, was the hazmat suit, and then when she showed up later, he's got a beekeeper outfit,
right, which looked kind of similar, but it was different because it had, it was just like the top. That was obvious, okay. I thought the difference, but
I thought so too. But then sometimes you are looking for things, or you have your mind made up, and you're like, were they playing something on us, or was that normal? But it can't be normal that he's walking around in even if it's not the hazmat suit, that he's walking around in his beekeeper thing with the hood on and everything, just walking around the day they're moving in.
Right. So who does that? Number one, who the heck goes into their garage in a hazmat suit and knows that people are watching and closes the garage door?
Right.
What?
Well, because okay, so they're tied into this clearly. Was any of that for show to try to make her feel more crazy? Why are they trying to make her more crazy? What is the advantage?
I don't know, other than maybe they can. Maybe she pissed them off. I don't know. I mean, I have no idea. Maybe the line by Winter where she was talking to Oz and she goes, people believe what they want to believe. The trick is figuring out what they want to believe and giving it to them. Where she does that thing to Oz where she basically tells Oz how we're going to manipulate your mother.
Right.
Or how we're manipulating people through the entire show.
Right. So, yeah. Okay.
Because Ivy is involved one way or the other.
She's involved somehow with something. She's got to be, right?
Well, I don't know. I don't know if Ivy, because there's Frank brought up an age difference. I think there's an obvious age difference between Ivy and Allie, and I think Winter is much more Ivy's age than Allie is Ivy's age. And so it seems like Allie is the one, maybe Allie is the one with the money for the restaurant, and Ivy is the physical manpower, and she's the one who does it. And then maybe Ivy fell in love with Winter, got involved with Winter somehow, and this is a big plot for her to get all of the restaurant and all of the money and all of that. But maybe that's maybe that's just too simplified.
Yeah.
Because the whole bath scene where Winter is obviously trying to put the moves on Allie and work this whole thing out.
We'll talk about that in a minute.
Yeah. That maybe it's just that Winter's manipulating both of them. I don't know.
Yeah, I can't figure out so. Okay, we're going to go down a couple of little rabbit holes here. First of all, we've got Allie, who they're either this whole group of people is trying to make her feel crazy, or maybe they are doing this to unlock something in her.
Sure.
Maybe she's the big bad and she doesn't know it.
Right.
And maybe Oz is tied in when they're saying, well, do you know who your mother is? We were taking that as, them trying to manipulate him against Sarah Paulson, but maybe not. Maybe not. And I think tonight they were trying to indicate that he was closer with Ivy. Maybe he knows that she's the one that carried him.
Right. Well, he did, because he obviously said.
But we don't know that she carried him.
But he said the way they portrayed it when he said, "I want to go with mommy," and he goes to Ivy. That seemed like that was the.
But that could be him deciding that that's who mommy is.
Yeah, but I don't know. When you're 10 and scared, are you really going to say, "I'm deciding this," or are you going to go with what your?
Or it could be, "Hey, this one is less nuts." Because really, Sarah Paulson is pretty erratic.
Right, she's off a rocker. So
or at least they've made her that way. As soon as Ivy leaves, clowns show up and craziness, and all of a sudden she's carrying a gun, and it's nuts.
Well, that seems like, because there was some time in between the meat room incident and that her showing the gun.
The meat room incident.
Well, I'm just saying, I think that was the obvious thing where she says, I'm going to try and take control of my life and I'm going to get a gun and do this. Although it's the Wiltons that give her the gun, and we can talk about that later. They're feeding it. But I like your theory of her being the one that's the bad one. Maybe she is the one. Maybe this is kind of like a Fight Club thing where there's this person who is a little nutty and it kind of driving herself crazy.
Yeah, like a Fight Club thing. Like, that's not a bad thought.
All of a sudden, she's the one manipulating, Kai, Evan Peters, and her sister, and she's the one who's doing all of this.
Right, they're trying to awaken her from whatever this state is, and we're seeing this sweet, innocent, but she's not. I mean, there's a possibility, and I was thinking about Kai. I think they made it very obvious his tie with the clowns, because tonight, even though the first week it was the same way, when he showed up at the door and he had the blue hair, I'm like, he's a clown.
Right.
This is all clowns. It's all clowns, That was a weird scene too. I didn't like that. That was disturbing, actually, because that was when we were getting. Did you ever see the movie The Strangers?
Yes.
Yeah, that's disturbing. Like you can watch like Ouija 2, The Origin of Evil, and it's like, okay, this isn't scary. This is fun to watch. Conjuring, not scary, fun to watch. Right. Strangers, we better go lock the door.
Yeah.
Funny Games, or Them. Them is a French film, if you haven't seen that one.
Mm-hmm.
They're all kind of the same thing. They're these weird home invasion things. And when Evan Peters showed up, I had a total like Strangers moment. It was very upsetting. And then when he started grabbing the bars, I was like, what is wrong here?
Well, I'm surprised she didn't.
She had that knife behind her back, and he's like, I love that shot. Did you notice how they put the camera behind her so you saw just the tip of the knife?
Right.
And he goes, and they still had a couple more lines of dialogue, and then he goes, what's that behind your back? I was like, oh my gosh. You're sitting there staring at it, knowing she has it. They just put the tip showing. They're playing just the tip.
Right.
And it came up there. And that was really good.
Yeah, that was well crafted. But then I don't know if she showed him, but then he said, well, what do you think a knife is going to do? Because he mentions that in later on.
Right, he said it. She didn't show him.
Right. So
he knew, but it's probably by the way she's holding it and everything. Although, were they observing her?
Or
are they watching her?
They might be. So
do they have cameras in that house? That's a possibility.
Well, because they just put in the security system.
Right.
Supposedly, just as she freaks out and puts bars on the windows after, we didn't even talk about it. Like going back, the reason that she puts bars in front of the house and does all that because she goes to the store and like their head, like one of their chefs or this obvious angry white guy is hanging from the meat locker.
Holy cow.
Which I thought was completely made up. And then she's like, oh no, he was alive. I'm like, oh my gosh.
Oh my gosh. He was alive and she moved him and killed him?
Right.
Yeah. Yeah. And yeah, you know what? There was a problem with that scene though.
What? She would never do it?
You're a business owner. Okay. Yeah. We used to have a retail store. Not you and I, but Martha and I had one.
Yes.
Our alarm went off. I'm sure you've had an alarm go off in the middle of the night, right?
The police show up.
The police are there.
Yes.
It took her, she had to go from home, get all the way there. Those cops would have been there already.
Right.
It doesn't work that way. So that's why I'm like, is this some kind of dream? Because this makes no sense.
Well, but the way they deal with stuff doesn't make any sense. They are very entitled and very comfortable. I think
Ivy and Allie?
Ivy and Allie are very...
Yeah, but that doesn't mean that cops wouldn't be notified. They have an alarm company.
But they have this like very self-assuredness, like, well, nothing's going to happen to me. We're wealthy suburbanites and this isn't going to happen. And so they make decisions based on the fact that they feel like they're going to be protected at all times. And in reality, you're not. I mean, I wouldn't, and I'm a big guy and I can take care of myself. I wouldn't walk into a store, especially that's that big, by myself with the alarm going off.
No kidding. Especially when you're getting tormented by clowns.
Right. Especially when you're little nuts. I mean, and I know she did it and they made it sound like she was going to be empowered. I'm going to take care of this scary or possibly dangerous situation, which is 99% of the time going to be nothing. Well,
Right.
the reason you bring somebody is in case something happens. So, I mean,
See, I would have thought that when there was just something that didn't work for me in this scene.
well, there's a lot
Because
of
but yeah, this was especially stupid. First of all, I don't care how the kid is reacting right there. Ivy is not going to let her go.
right.
And if you're saying, well, Ivy's involved and that's why she let her go, Allie is not going to go.
Right.
So, I mean, there was just stuff I'm watching it going, this isn't adding up. And then when the cops weren't there, I'm like, okay, is this going to turn out to be some kind of dream sequence? And they see the dead body. And I'm like, I don't know if I saw it behind her a moment ago. So maybe this is all made up. It wasn't until they said later, you found the body in the cooler a few weeks ago. And then she says, didn't you see it? You know, I killed him. But I'm like, okay, well, I guess it all happened. But it wasn't adding up to me. So I don't know.
Well, there's all sorts of warning signs. I mean, did you see where their alarm was from the front door? You've had alarms at your places.
Right.
How could you even get out of the restaurant in time for the alarm to alarm? Who puts their alarm in the back hallway?
Right.
I mean, there's pads all over.
It was in such a weird space.
But again, it harkens back to, and this is my feeling from the very beginning of this series, is that they are really portraying the, Sarah Paulson and Allison Pill and the Changs as these like very kind of, I hate, maybe entitled isn't the right word, but very comfortable and not threaten people that think that, oh, I'm just going to go along with my life and nothing bad can happen.
Sure.
And bad things are happening.
Bad choices. But wouldn't the alarm company set it up in the right place?
Well, no, because but think about the way as particular as,
maybe
Sarah
they didn't
Paulson
allow them to?
No, maybe they're like, well, we don't want it up front. That would be offensive to our guests to see an alarm panel.
Sure.
You know what? It's to protect your guests and you. Not you don't care. You know what? Put a wooden box around it and put some cute sign on it if that's what you feel, but you need to protect yourself.
Get a black velvet clown. Put a picture of that on there. That'd be
exactly. Twisty.
Beautiful.
Twisty comic
Twisty, cover. Black velvet, Twisty. Maybe have that special paint so that when you turn off the lights, he glows.
Black light Twisty.
Black
awesome.
light Twisty.
That's what we need. New marketing, a new T-shirt. Black light Twisty.
You know me. I love that.
Yeah, I think that's our T-shirt for this series. Black light Twisty.
Black light Twisty. Yeah, if we could get that together, that would be absolutely amazing.
I mean, just there's all sorts of those black light Twisty. There's all these like little things that don't add up, and then you look at it at the end and you're like, there's all these wrong steps along the way, and then how do we get there? Like you're saying,
well, are they making mistakes? Yeah, is the show making some mistakes? Because in the past they have, or are these on purpose? Because I still contend that some of the mistakes that have happened in the past, we've seen little payoffs later that I felt like maybe that wasn't a mistake. Maybe there is an overarching thing. Now, do I think that it's as well orchestrated as, say, a Vince Gilligan show? No, I don't. I think Breaking Bad was an incredibly well orchestrated show.
Sure.
Unlike other than maybe The Sopranos that we've seen, Right. I don't think this is that same caliber, but maybe I'm wrong. I mean,
also tackling some different issues. I mean, this whole different story and different theme. When you're going down one line with Walter White, it's a lot easier to plan that arc.
Right.
Instead of saying,
this.
Hey, we're going to do Hotel and have to create this, and we're going to do, Freak Show, and we're going to do, Coven and all of these things. There's a lot there.
Yeah.
I think it's harder to
I do too. No offense here, because I think this show is awesome. So
sure.
I actually think I was talking about it with Martha because she is already out on the season. Last week was so upsetting to her.
Sure. I can understand that.
And I was not necessarily looking forward to tonight's episode.
And then you liked it. Then you loved it, didn't you?
I loved it.
Yeah.
I loved it. I told Martha that too. I said, I think that this made up for the things that we were talking about last week that were like, well, these were kind of cheap, or this was kind of, less thought out. I think this week it was very thought out. I think there was a lot of stuff going on that made me say, where is this going? Right. Where is Evan Peters' character going? Billy Eichner is like the best casting ever. Not ever. He's in there. He's in there with when they've had great ones in the past. Where you're like, oh yeah, it's just.
Well, he's Dennis O'Hare quality, and if you're not going to have Dennis O'Hare, then Billy Eichner is a good.
Well, what's really funny. We watch. He has a show on Hulu called Difficult People,
right? Which
is really funny. It's like a more abrasive version of Seinfeld.
Right.
Like how everyone's like, oh, the Seinfeld people, they're awful. They're nothing compared to how awful these people are.
Well, would it be if Seinfeld was able to be on Hulu? Would that be what Larry David is? Because Curb is.
Yeah, I think if
Curb is Seinfeld on crack.
If Curb and It's Always Sunny had a love child, it might be Difficult People. But Billy Eichner, there's a great episode. There's a great episode where Billy Eichner he wants to get on. He says that they're making, the people that make American Horror Story are making American Comedy Story, and he's like, I'm auditioning to be, I forget who it is. It's something ridiculous. Like, I'm auditioning to be Jerry Lewis in that. I can't wait. Oh, so he kept talking about Falchuk and that in that episode, and then to have him on here, I'm like, this is. I wonder if they just saw how funny that was, and we're like, we got to put this guy on, or if there was already something going on when they did that. But yeah, if you're not watching Difficult People,
they might just completely torture him. That'd be awesome.
Oh yeah,
put the show and
then just torture him.
We're going to torture you. Dang it!
How great was that when she saw him scrape the honeycomb and we saw all the bees coming out of the holes, and you're like. Yeah. It's like, oh my gosh, that's part of whatever this is for her.
They are pulling all. This is their ode to the horror show, because they're pulling Psycho. They're pulling out all the stops. They even did it. They've done 2 shower scenes. They did a shower scene, a bath scene. They're pulling Alfred Hitchcock. They're pulling. And maybe it's each show, because it seemed to be like this was a lot of Psycho. There was a lot of Psycho in this one.
There was a lot of Psycho. There was The Strangers. There was the scene with Eichner and Grossman. Her name is Leslie Grossman, the one who plays Meadow. The scene with them reminded me of a lot of horror films, not slasher films, but horror films, where there's
horror films, right?
Well, I'm sorry.
I was saying like a lot of the B horror films.
Yeah. No, not just like B movie horror films.
Right.
Get it? Because he had
horror films about bees and
yes.
We have to be,
So we're falling into a rabbit hole here, falling into a bee hole. So yeah, I just lost my train of thought.
The nods, who they're giving nods to different.
Oh yeah, tons of things are going on there, and I still got that creep show vibe again.
Yes, and I also got Night of the Living Dead, like
doing some of that. Yep,
the 55-gallon drums with the guy in the hazmat suit. I was thinking, oh my god,
this is more cops.
Exactly. This will be
Return of the Living Dead.
Yeah, that's the worst movie ever too. It's so
that is not the worst movie ever. I love that movie.
That's the
one.
I
saw it. I saw it at the drive-in recently.
That's the one with they put. It's underneath the graveyard, right?
Yes.
Yes. It's
got the great punk rock soundtrack, and it's got what's her name? Now I can't think of her name. Is in it, and she's the one that dances naked in the graveyard, and it's got a great audio cue, because as soon as she starts to take it off, typical 80s, the one guy you hear him off camera. Yep, she's taking her shirt off again. I love it. I love it. It's so
the guy that acted and looked like Jimmy Stewart is the
guy with the tie. Yes,
just fix it. Like, God, it's so cliche and so bad.
Oh, it's so good.
Yeah, it is.
Send more cops.
Send more brains. It's like
brains.
Yeah, we're gonna cremate this, and then we're just gonna spread it out through the whole. It's so bad.
They have remember that when they have the dog cut in half, and the stuff makes the dog start like going crazy, but it's in half.
Well, it's in half, but isn't it in the bag?
Yeah,
it's great. Yeah, we do cadavers. That's awesome. That's fair.
So I just want to touch on this.
Okay.
So we had the guy get killed in the, I think Roger was his name. The guy get killed in the meat locker.
And please, he deserved to die. He was a DB.
Awful. Yep. It was terrible.
He deserved it.
If you're talking horror movies, he deserved to die. When you when you watch, especially like 80s slasher films, you can always pick out who the last girl is going to be. You can always pick out who deserves to die. Who's going to be, meat for the grinder. There's always the people that you're like, they're going to be slow. They're going to get caught.
Right.
This is a person that's going to tug at your heartstrings. And this is who deserves to die. The bully deserves to die. That guy was the guy.
Oh, yeah. He did.
I don't know who the final girl is yet, though. Twisty. Twisty is.
It's going to be Winter's final girl.
Right. But he's picking on Pedro. And, I mean, I fully believe Pedro when he's like, I didn't do this. This is like ridiculous.
He's like,
I was born in San Diego. You're like, come on, man. But it once again, they're playing off that paranoia that's happened since this whole election in this last year. So you're seeing all that bubble up, and you're seeing the attention. He goes, hey, it's tough on brown people right now, and I'm from here, But then when he goes to the house, I mean, last shot of the thing, Sarah Paulson.
Did you not see that coming from as soon as I saw the gun? I'm like, Pedro's dead. And then she's like, Pedro. I'm like, oh.
As soon as she had that gun, and the power was out, and they sent Pedro there, I'm like, he is so dead. Now, once again, was that a setup by Ivy?
Well, is he dead or is he just shot? Because we don't know if he's dead. Well, I know we're assuming, but we don't know. I mean, I'm just going to say that because in the clips they're not making a big deal.
Was it like on Good Times when JJ got shot? Do you remember that?
Yes.
Pedro gets shot. Oh, somebody's been shot. Now there's a deep cut joke. Right. I'm assuming Pedro's got to be dead. I'm assuming because it's American Horror Story. You're not going to be like, oh, it's a flesh wound. He's all right. Yeah, he's going to go back to his family.
He's going back to San Diego. He's going to sue the girls, and it's going to be great.
Right.
It's probably true. So
now,
I'm just going to throw this out there. Are the Wiltons going to come and say, oh man, you shot this guy, we can help you because we know what to do? And then all of a sudden it's them bringing, them sucking her back into the evilness, because I'm going to bet that's going to happen. Because in the previews for next show, there's no talk of, hey, Sarah Paulson killed the cook.
Right. Not in the preview.
There's no mention of that. There's nothing in the preview, because if she killed the guy, even under those circumstances.
Wasn't that a movie with Zero Mostel?
I shot the cook. It started Stanley Tucci and Ian Holm and Big Night 2. Right. I shot the cook.
Oh, I wish. I love Big Night.
Yeah, it's one of my favorite movies too. So, but then,
go ahead, because I got something. Well, I was just looking something up on Wikipedia, and I want to bring this one up. They made a point of saying Oz's full name.
Yes.
So Ozymandias, yes. So I just want to read what it says here on Wikipedia about the name. It says it's a sonnet written by English Romantic poet Percy Blythe Shelley from 1818. Ozymandias was a Greek name for a pharaoh, Ramses II, who ruled Egypt. So I wonder if they took that concept and maybe Oz is like a reincarnated something. Maybe it's not Sarah Paulson, but it's him. Maybe he's Ramses.
Wow.
Not that he is necessarily Ramses, but like if we look into the story of Ramses and what Ramses II was, could it be? Could it be that there's some kind of like tie-in to, I might be stretching here, but some kind of Egyptian lore thing? I don't know enough about this, but maybe there's the undead thing or the reincarnation.
Sure.
Maybe.
They had clowns back there in Egypt. Twisty was alive back there. So.
Twisty is everything.
Or maybe, I'm reading in the description how they describe Allie as the liberal suburban snowflake. Is that what it is?
Yeah.
The petrified liberal snowflake, and Kai is the alt-right boogeyman. which I think is a great way to describe it. But I don't know. I mean, obviously the name has some significance, and it's going to play because it's this like Damon where he's got these nightmares, and it's portraying itself on the parents.
Right.
I don't know. I mean, I think there's a lot of spaghetti being thrown at the wall, and let's see what sticks.
So how much do you want one of those Twisty Yells?
Oh gosh, yeah.
What's up with the bizarre? Yeah, I really want one. What's up with that bizarre? Not Billy Harrison, or what's his name? Harrison
Wilton.
Yeah. When she says, "Oh well, Harrison gets one night a month in Detroit to like do whatever he does."
Right.
What is that? And how is that going to play in? And Detroit has Devil's Night. Is there going to be something with that? Like he goes there and he worships satanic clowns, or I don't know.
Well, who knows? It could be his night to be, because he's very honest and very open. It's his night to run free. Is that is that a pagan thing? I don't know. I mean, maybe
so that's what I don't know. Is it going to be something? Was that an important nugget, or is it just this is our agreement and this is what we do, and we listen to it and go like, okay, so this is their agreement. I mean, I don't know,
because what I have my doubts about. I don't want to say doubts. My hints about Kai's sexuality, because when they talked about, and if you're a G or PG, when Winter and Kai were doing the pinky thing, and he talked about the best and the worst that she liked, and he talked about. He was pretty graphic about the anal sex part. And so I'm wondering if he is gay, and that's how
he and
Harrison hooked up. Because, I mean, maybe that's the tie-in, and they got into all this. And
I just don't understand why they're tormenting Allie. I don't understand it.
Well, maybe it's just
I don't think we're supposed to understand it yet.
Right. Maybe it's just that they do it because the opportunity is there. Maybe it's not anything more than she's somebody we can mess with, and she happens to be there and we can get at her because, hey, my sister is potentially a lesbian. I'm gay. There's this
maybe we can drive her nuts while we unlock whatever's going on with Oz.
Sure. Or whatever's happening over there. I mean, there's a lot of possibilities because it's well, and also to go back to the one of the scenes where he gets beat up by the immigrant workers in Michigan. Somebody had to videotape that. I don't think it was Winter.
No, he did. He did. We saw him set his camera phone up.
Well, but there was a hand there. Was it Leslie? Because guess what? When they do the interview about the story, and again, it's a Deena Porter being the reporter, which was great. They interview the Wiltons, who just moved to town.
Right.
And they're doing an interview like, oh, that's horrible. They should get them. Right. It was like the worst interview ever. But and then all of a sudden you see them and they're the neighbors of.
Right.
What the? Allie didn't recognize them. I mean, Ivy's a pretty sharp person. You would see, and she didn't recognize them from the TV, and she watched the interview.
Right?
Didn't she?
I can't remember. It sounds right to me. I believe so. God, I can't remember, man.
I know there's so many little things, but I mean, there's just it's convenient that hey, they just moved to town. Convenient that they're interviewed about the attack on Kai, and then hey, the van pulls up in front with with the clowns, and then they move right in. They're not worried about the blood. They're not worried about the sign. It's almost if they don't care. And you think you would care even if you didn't really care about the murder and didn't worry about that, you still think you would cover up the sign and the sign drawn on the door, unless you're the one who did it and you're like, it's just part of the deal. So,
hey, was Pedro tied in with the clowns? I know that we were supposed to think he's completely innocent, but she saw the van pull up with the ice cream truck, which is what we know the clowns came out of. And the next thing that happens is Pedro is there. Where was his car?
Yeah, but that was after a while. She ran up. She got Oz. She got her gun. She was attacked.
Okay, so there could have been enough time in there.
But maybe it was in her mind's eye. But maybe that is the store's delivery truck. So maybe
the ice cream truck. That would be amazing. that would be amazing.
That would be so much on that kind of hipster. Hey, our delivery truck is this old ice cream truck that we deliver our meat in. But I mean, that's very topical right now. I mean, it's kind of cool, but yeah, who knows?
Yeah, maybe they bought it to make it into a food truck or something.
Yeah, you never know, but
it's so weird. Yeah, but she'd recognize it. She owns a restaurant. I don't know. I just wonder. The timing seemed a little weird, but you might be right. It might just be there might be nothing to that. Because I think Pedro's innocent. I think Pedro is a victim at this point. I got two more things. One is we touched on it, but I just want to bring up again how freaking weird that bath scene was. Yeah. The fact that Sarah Paulson's letting her anywhere near her is very weird because they're in a committed relationship. I've got nothing that doesn't indicate that. Now, you've made a point that maybe Ivy isn't, but that doesn't mean Sarah Paulson has not. Neither one has indicated it, but we haven't spent the time with Ivy that we have with Sarah Paulson's character.
Right.
With Allie, there hasn't been any of that. So the fact that that was happening, it's like they're married. If that was happening to me, like all of a sudden somebody's drawing me a bath, I'd be like, get the hell out of here. What is going on here? All those alarms would be going off. It would be too weird. And this is some nanny. I mean,
but she's already on the edge. So yeah, I think Winter does the good job of like, oh, I'll do it. But then she, again, if you go back to the give people people believe what they want. So if you can give them what they want, you can basically give them anything.
Sure.
So maybe she's a master manipulator. It's like, oh, it won't be that bad. I'll leave. No problem. I'll check on Oz. And then all of a sudden she's back. And
yeah, I just thought that was very odd.
Yeah.
And then the other thing is, this is my last thing I wanted to bring up was when Harrison is at the door. Oh, it's a terrorist attack. We've been talking about it, and here's the honey, or here are the candles, and and I'm going, this is really weird. He's got to be in on all of this. They obviously cut the wires. We saw the cut wires,
right?
But how come there's I was about to say how come there's an outage everywhere, but we don't know there is. Although we saw all the candles at the restaurant,
right?
So, is there a possibility that Ivy's not in on it? That somebody did the same thing at the restaurant to make them feel like there was an outage everywhere.
Well, they would be, if your power is out, the first thing you do is you go look out the windows to see if everybody's out. You don't sit there and go, oh, it's the end of the world.
But did they?
Well,
did she?
But I'm just saying, like Sarah Paulson.
I don't think she did. Well, I think that she went to the door and Billy was there and was like, hey, little Miss Sunshine, it's a terrorist attack.
Like with Ivy when she called, I mean, typical, my phone's dying. Like no thought of, hey, I should keep my phone charged because I always have my charger there.
Right.
Oh, well, now it's going to die after one call. Another person who's like that. I mean,
and don't you have a hard line there?
Yeah.
I mean, come on.
You know what? A lot of people don't. We don't at our house. We don't have a hard line. I do not have a hardline phone anymore because why pay for it when we've got cell phones?
Okay.
Maybe you do, but you also have a child. I don't. So, I'll just leave. I mean, I don't know.
You don't have a little Oz there?
No, I do not have a little Oz. Well, the dog and cat will go with us. But yeah, exactly. I mean, they're feeding.
Yeah, but they're not calling anybody.
Like, they're feeding into her hysteria. It's like, and it's totally believable because she believes the end of the world is coming.
Right. And then to have that terrorist thing, it's like,
it's a terrorist attack. We knew it was coming.
And that's why she freaked out and shot. But I thought that was a really interesting moment. And I think that we're going to see more of that like paranoia play out.
Well, sure. Well,
but I want to see what the repercussions are because unless they really did black everything out, and she goes, but look, our stuff was cut, and they go, no, but look, on the news, the whole area was blacked out, and the wires aren't cut anymore. Maybe they did that to her to make her think that, but then who's going to take the time to fix the wires?
Right. Well, I mean, if they're there, maybe they never installed maybe they're in the process of installing all of the alarms and everything. And
the alarm's not set up yet.
The alarm's not set, and maybe there was power to it, but it never was hooked up to the junction box. I mean, there's all sorts of excuses for that. But like maybe the power just went out on that side of town for whatever reason. And they took the opportunity. Maybe they did it. And, Sarah Paulson overreacted and didn't even think about it. And, Allie overreacts. Ivy's just like, oh, the power's out. We need to figure out what we need to do to save the restaurant. And then why are you freaking out? And
right.
Her wife is completely nuts, and that's why somebody needs to go watch it. Although, if I was Ivy, the power being out for a couple of hours and her leaving makes no difference.
Sure.
You shut your cooler door, and you got like 15 hours before.
Right.
So you don't sit there and freak out until you plan about it, but you don't sit there and freak out.
But she just had to do a second mortgage on the house for all the meat.
Right.
And now potentially power's out, and if it's out long enough, you're in trouble. Then you got to get insurance involved and blah, blah, blah. But I'm sure, wouldn't insurance cover that with the dead body in there?
I don't know. Maybe they didn't pay who knows? But
I want to know details. Get a little on the phone. He knows all about insurance.
Is Pedro back to work after all that happened? Pedro shows up after he's accused of murder for somebody at work. Hold on. He'd be not there.
Right.
Again, it's another
another thing that's kind of potentially a flaw here.
Right.
Or was it enough time? They said it's been weeks.
A week, they said.
No, I thought they said it's been a couple of weeks.
Well, but still a couple of weeks?
Yeah, it doesn't move that fast.
I mean, he made the comment to her, the cops came to my house and scared my daughter.
Right.
I mean,
how about the fact that you spent a week in jail because you were the prime suspect?
Right.
Or at least a night in jail.
Right. Or just be questioned. I mean, you never know. I mean, motive is not, they would not arrest him with just a motive. They couldn't arrest him because of that. They would need to prove more. And, of course, his fingerprints are there. He works there. So,
do you think we're going to have the scene where somebody opens a trunk and we see a clown mask and we're like, oh, they've been the clown the whole time?
Well, I was surprised we didn't see them have a clown outfit on one of the mannequins at the Wilton's house.
Yeah, right. Like from the background, you can see, but it would have to be Victorian. It would have to look like it. It have to be like Pennywise. Right. Like from the back, you're like, seriously? That's Pennywise? Right.
Or Twisty. Twisty kind of has an old school clown outfit. So
I'm kind of hoping that it turns out Twisty is immortal and Twisty is back.
Well, he's got a doll, so maybe he is.
I do love that they have that. Now, once again, does that indicate that Twisty is a made-up fictional character in this particular reality?
Sure.
Or was he real and eventually became kind of a pop culture figure like a Jack the Ripper, but because he's a clown and weird, they actually made toys out of him because of the comic book? I think it'd be interesting to find out, is that really, if he's real or if he's fictitious, and if he is real, is there any point where we're seeing a real Twisty with this kid?
Sure.
There can't be. He has to be in his head.
Yeah, but also, didn't Twisty have his jaw cut off or something?
Yeah, remember they showed that.
Then how did he speak in the show?
They showed it in the first episode of this season when he took it off and his tongue was like, ah.
Right.
But he was still able to speak. Yeah.
But he talks to the kid and you can understand him. If you scream, you'll die. That's what he says in the first scene. There's no way he could be legible.
Well, then that's part of the dream.
But so is the Twisty part real? But it was the three nose guy, right?
Right.
They call him. So is that real and Twisty's fake?
No, I think both of them were fake there. I think that was all night terror. I do. I think that scene. I think the scenes with Twisty are absolutely night terror.
Right.
But it's an interesting thought that at some point there is a real Twisty that shows up, feeding off of their fears. Or maybe they practice black magic. Maybe he is the Twisty that went with Mordor in the Carnival season. Maybe.
Or does Sarah Paulson and her thing about clowns make her Twisty the clown? And she thinks she's Twisty.
I do think that she's tied to Twisty. I really do.
Maybe that's her, and her phobia is like, Twisty scared me as a child so much that I have this thing, and then her alter ego is
Wasn't there a scene in Freak Show where he was at the grocery store and the little girl was standing there and saw him face on? Is she going to? I think there was. And I wonder if she's the little girl and that's why she's so scared of clowns.
Yeah, but that's too, because if this is current, Sarah Paulson's maybe 40 in this show. So she wouldn't have been alive in
the 50s. Yeah. All right. I was trying. I was reaching.
But maybe she's scared of the comic books because those look like classic comics. And maybe those are actually Sarah Paulson's comics that she can't let go of because they're her comics. And that's her dark side.
Oh, I think she'd let go of it. I think Ivy is the one that didn't get rid of it. I think Sarah Paulson thought they were gone, and all of a sudden they resurface, and it's easy to blame the kid.
I'm going to go back and look and see. I'm going to go back and look and see whose hands put it in.
Try to figure out what hand it is.
Well, yeah, just because. I mean, but if we go on the theory that maybe she does have this dark side, and she's going to be like they're trying to draw this out of her. Maybe they know that she's the clown, and maybe it is like a Fight Club kind of thing where.
That'd be amazing.
She's like Krusty is her Tyler Durden. And
wait, did you say Krusty is?
Yeah, Krusty.
Hey!
Twisty, whatever.
Send in the clowns.
Whatever the Wizzo, whatever the name is, I don't know.
Oh, Wizzo. Nothing wrong with him.
Wizzo was great.
All right, are we done? Did we finish this one?
I think so.
All right, Frank Palmer, you send in more theories. I want everybody to send in some theories. We did put up a discussion thread last week. Nobody really jumped in on that, but we did get some messages. Get in conversation with us. We'll put up a message thread for episode 2. We'll put that up tonight so that maybe between now and when we record next, we can actually talk about what you guys thought of 2 and then what you guys think of 3. And once again, follow us at Disturbed Pod on Twitter and Disturbed Podcast. Look that up on Facebook. The other thing is, for one of our other shows, we actually have a phone number that you can leave a message at. And if we get messages, we'll find a way to play it on the show and interact with it. You know what? I'm going to have to put it in the show notes.
Yes.
I can't find it that quickly. So there you go. I was useless there.
Most prepared show on the radio.
Yeah. So I will find that, and I will actually post that. I'll put it in the show notes, but I'll also tweet it out. Like, leave a message. Follow us on Twitter, and I'll tweet it out in the next couple of days, and say, like, if you want to leave a message, dial. I know it's like 907 twig or something, but don't take me at face value with that because I have to figure out exactly what it is. Chris, you want to give your social media?
Yeah. Can I plug one more thing, you guys?
Yeah.
Right now it's what's the date today? The 17th of September.
Yes.
It's 3 weeks, right? 3 weeks.
2.5. Yes, 3 weeks.
2.5 weeks. We are Southgate Media Group is doing a podcast marathon. That's October 7th. We're doing it at the Blue Box Cafe. We're going to have that. We're going to do it live, correct?
We are doing it live.
So we are going to actually.
We'll have the live shows at the Blue Box.
Right.
We will have YouTube Live up as long as the internet holds out for us.
Sure.
And we're going to try to have Facebook Live going too.
So we're going to have a lot of live stuff, but we're going to do 13 hours of podcasting in a podcast marathon. Look for it on our social media. It's going to be great. I don't know if we're going to do a show because we actually have a lot of people that are wanting to do stuff, but we'll probably, do a little plug on Disturbed in some of the downtime because there will be.
I'd imagine we will, yes.
We'll be up there talking about it. And, if you like what you see, you can always help us out. We kickstarted some of it, so we have some pretty cool things to do. We got some posters, and we'll put that out for you guys. But in terms of me, I can be found at www.theblueboxcafe.com or Blue Box Cafe or Blue Box Cafe 176 on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook. What else is there? Who knows? Whatever social media, we're involved in a lot of it.
You're on all.
I'm not good at it. I'm good at Facebooking. That's about what I'm good at. But the rest is out there, and we're there. But thanks for listening, and we would really love to hear some input from you guys. To be able to interact is awesome. Thanks Frank for his 2 theories. I think that's a really good one. So
I do too. I do too. I love the holes thing. I thought that was really, really awesome.
Because I didn't know where they were going with in the intro. They did the bees, and then all of a sudden they showed. I'm like, oh, payoff. There we go.
Yeah, yeah. And that idea of the she's full of holes is just really killing me. I thought that was great. What I do have the number. It's 702-907 twig. TWIG.
702-907 twig.
Yeah, and I don't have it broken out on here, but 907 twig. 702-907 twig. We use that one for This Week in Geek, but since we're both on This Week in Geek, we'll use it for this one too. So if you have a theory or a question, you want dating advice from Chris, send it in. Call in. We'll play it on the show.
We will.
That's it. I'm done. Are you done?
I am done.
All right. Time to turn on the black light, Twisty.